Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ancient Warfare Answers. I think this is episode 12, and I am the assistant editor, Murray Darm, and this is the editor, Jasper Ortage. And he's going to answer the question this time round, which is from Treb Courie, and it is, was the iron shank of the pilum designed to be soft and bend easily?
Why is it I seem to end up I always seem to end up with the questions that could in theory be answered with just no. But that's a bit. I mean, we designed these ancient warfare answers episodes to be short, but not that short because that would be a bit annoying. So I would say first of all, if you are interested,
I was going to say maybe then you could answer with why has the preconception that they were designed to bend? Where's that come from?
Well, that's
that will take a little bit more time. Maybe no?
So, some author. Okay. I was going to say actually, if you're interested in the pilum, then I would very much recommend the pilum, the Roman heavy javelin by Mike Bishop, a booklet published by Osprey, which will pretty much answer any questions you may have about the pilum until you get to the metal molecular level. So the answer is no, because the pilum was designed not to bend and be soft and bend easily. It was, first of all, we have to say there's all kinds of pila. But when we think, and there's pilum, there's a type of pilum with a very short shank, which clearly was not designed to bend anyway. But if we're talking about the classic Roman imperial pilum that we all think of with a shank of, 30, 40 centimeters long and a bodkin style tip on it, then clearly it's not designed to bend. It's designed to punch through a shield or punch through armor and go into somebody. And if it immediately bends, then it won't do that. So it's no good. It is true that compared to the tip of the pilum, the shank is made, apparently, as far as it's been tested, is a somewhat softer iron, but that may just be, that doesn't seem to have been on purpose. The pilum does bend, and again from tests, if you punch a pilum through a shield and you try to pull it out again, it will very likely bend because it's just awkward, and you have a long, fairly thin shaft of metal, and almost any kind of metal that is not specifically designed to stay absolutely straight in that circumstance will bend if you put enough force on it. But it doesn't seem to have been designed that way. It's just it does happen to be the case that many of the pila that we find are bent, but that's probably because they were planning to repair them and straighten them out again. Many pila were also broken. The tip breaks off because it was bent. It's probably not being a metallurgical person at all, but I assume it's not easy to hand forge a shaft like that to be so strong that it will stay straight and not break easily. So what we find are often the discarded bits that couldn't be repaired. It couldn't be repaired anymore. And there, of course, there are some stories from ancient history that suggest something like this. There is the most famous one of those is from Plutarch, I think, about Gaius Marius, that he had the design of the pilum modified so that one of the bolts or the pins really that connected the shaft into the shank into the wooden shaft of the pilum one of them, there were two iron pins, and one of them, is the story, was replaced by the wooden one, so that when it was thrown, it might, when somebody tried to put force on it after it went into a shield, for instance, the wooden pin would break, and then the whole pilum would become useless and couldn't be thrown back again. Or it would just sort of, it would, like an old-fashioned shotgun, it would break at the hinge point and become useless. The problem there, of course, is that A, a wooden pin doesn't break that easily, and B, for the whole thing to then collapse as a hinge would mean that the shank was otherwise very loosely secured in the wooden shaft of the pilum, and that's not the case. It's very clear from surviving examples that the Romans went to quite a lot of trouble to secure the iron shaft, the iron shank, very well into the wooden shaft. So that whole story that is hugely famous is either something got lost in translation between Gaius Marius and the time that Plutarch put down the story, or Plutarch was trying to make a point of how innovative Marius was, heard some kind of story and made something up. But it's likely not based in reality, because, as we said, any examples of pila that we found, the iron shank is very well secured in the wooden shaft, and there's no examples of wooden pins or any indication that any of the pins were made out of wood. So another point against this whole idea of a soft bendy shaft is that the pilum was very clearly also used as a thrusting spear. And a thrusting spear that is designed to bend when you put force at the point is not very useful as a thrusting spear, because you're going to end up with a bendy banana and not something that goes into your enemy.
The round the corner legionary.
Yeah, exactly. It might have some use for people in the third line, I suppose, but it's. I'm not sure actually who came up with this idea first. It's probably somebody in the 19th century read some kind of ancient story and thought, well, they probably were, that would have been useful.
Well, the idea at school for me was always that the spear would hit the shield and bend, and then wouldn't be able to be thrown back. That was always the story we were told, was that the bending point would mean that it was useless for return fire.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but of course, again, to reiterate the point, that shaft is that long so that when the bodkin point punches through the shield, it's not supposed to just then be, a shield removal device. That whole long shaft is designed to stay straight and go into the enemy behind it. The pilum in the end is designed to wound and kill your enemy, not to just remove a shield so that you can then use your gladius to take him out. It is a handy extra feature, to put it that way, that once that point and the shaft go through a shield, that shield probably becomes useless, and it's going to be heavy and awkward to get the pilum out again. But that's just how it is. That's sort of a handy secondary thing, and that once you remove your shield, you become extra vulnerable to another pilum or sword that comes after it. But it wasn't designed that way.
Well, there you have it. A very long.
Think that'll do?
Yeah, that's a lovely long no. Love it.
See you next time.
So next time we'll make sure that you get the longer answers next time.